Hey, good morning, everybody. I wanted to address an email. As you know, I get emails, and when I get something good, I usually not only respond to that person, but I also put it out in a video because I know if one person's asking it, there's probably 100 other people out there who have the exact same question. So this is from Kevin. He said, "Greetings. First of all, I'd like to thank you for your time and effort. I've been watching your channel for a while, but I just had one quick question. Both my wife and I are career firefighters with one child. What do you think would be a reasonable initial goal of accumulating silver? Obviously, the more the better. For when the death of the dollar arrives. $10,000 worth. Just looking for a little bit of guidance. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated, Kevin." This is something I get asked a lot because when you start coming out of the dollar paradigm and understanding that this is truly a global generational debt-based fiat Ponzi scheme that's essentially been running since the end of World War II, and that it's coming to an end, that there's just far too much debt out there for the productive economy to still function. We're watching young people come out of college with $200,000 of student loan debt that can never be washed away in bankruptcy, that are utterly worthless in this economy. And it's preventing them from, getting married, having children, buying a house, buying a car. Like that, we've just indebted this younger generation to that. And that's just a small example of just the total amount of global debt that we have, because it's not just student loan debt, it's mortgage debt, it's state debt, it's global corporate debt, it's government debt. It's the whole world runs on debt. When you realize that the only way that this system functions is that there has to be more debt created every year in excess of the debt and interest accrued the year before, or it all implodes. And that we have a system where they can create trillions of dollars out of thin air, destroy the purchasing power of your currency instantly.
And we can guarantee cash benefits as far out and at whatever size you like, but we cannot guarantee their purchasing power.
And that this game will eventually, mathematically, psychologically implode. It will no longer serve humanity, and when that is, it's lights out. Everything will get washed away. All the assets that were ballooned up in this bubble, the everything bubble that is now being called, the stocks, the real estate, even the jobs. You think your job is a six-figure job. Well, when the underlying economy implodes and 70% of the consumer economy is no longer able to, take on debt to buy things we don't need from countries that are impoverished their citizens through their slave labor, to impress people who don't care, all of a sudden those six-figure jobs won't mean anything, because I don't think that they're going to re-inflate this consumer bubble anymore, because they don't need us to consume or produce anymore. Now that they have AI and robotics, they can go on and create their own separate society if they wanted to. But getting back to the point, how much silver should I accumulate? And I constantly go back to the idea of having at least 1,000 ounces of physical silver. I think that is a historically significant amount of wealth for an average person to have. And I based it off of, throughout all of history, and even 2/3 of the world today that lives off of about $2 a day, a tenth of an ounce of silver would represent a day's worth of hard human labor. You can see this in the Bible where, you would have people who go out into the vineyards and work all day for a denarius, which was the equivalent of a silver dime. Even in Sun Tzu's Art of War, you could have a 100,000 man army for 1,000 ounces of silver per day, which is less than a tenth of an ounce of silver for those guys to work. And I look at it this way, so that 1,000 ounces that you could stack would represent 10,000 days of hard human labor, almost 30 years of saved up human potential. So when the value of the dollar and all these currencies and all these assets and everything that runs around there, how else are we going to base this off of but what we already have throughout all of human history and even 2/3 of the world today that does not live in this global generational debt-based fiat bubble? Because, quite honestly, a grand majority of the population don't have access to the amount of debt and consumerism that we have. There's no way everybody could live the American lifestyle evenly, because we would deplete the earth of all of its resources. Pollution would be far worse, and then, where else would we be? So it's going to collapse at some point. The cancer always grows until it kills the healthy host that, this country once was, that the world once was, the productive human labor. And I believe that silver is going to be the basis for, or at least the means of transporting wealth from this financial paradigm into whatever the next financial paradigm is. I also went on to tell Kevin that, if you evenly divided all the currently known above ground silver stocks, which is I've seen anywhere estimated between 1 billion and maybe 2 billion ounces of physical silver above ground. But if there's close to 8 billion people, that would mean that we would have, if it was evenly divided, about 1/10 of an ounce of silver or 1/4 an ounce of silver per person on Earth today. So even if we all just exchanged daily, that would just be enough to cover everybody, and it would be all even. Obviously, silver is not evenly divided, just like all wealth is not evenly divided. So in reality, it's far less than 1/10 of an ounce of silver or even 1/4 an ounce of silver per person above ground, because obviously even in this group, we have people who have a ton of silver, physically, literally, in their possession. And that deprives other people of being able to stack even 1/10 of an ounce of silver if it was evenly divided amongst everybody else. So my feeling is, if you have any physical silver, you're already at a huge advantage to all these other people who are simply living in digital illusions of wealth. So I hope that helps people understand why I am so adamant about getting physical silver in your possession, because I really believe that not only is it undervalued, it is vital, because you think about all the industrial uses. Forget about the monetary advantages of having real tangible wealth in a digital illusion world, but think about all the industrial uses of all the high technology that's being used. It is the second most versatile commodity in the world next to oil. And with the age of oil coming to an end, obviously silver with renewable energy, medicine, all the high-tech technology, they want the best conducting, most reflective, antimicrobial, whatever it is, the benefits of silver that cannot be reproduced by any other metal out there. And I think silver is just a tremendous value in any amount of silver that you get. Obviously, I'm very biased because I think the silver I produce on a weekly basis is best value in silver, because for the same price you'd be paying for, supporting all these government mints, the same government that's going to destroy your currency, why you would give business to them, I don't know, especially the Queen of England. But the silver that I produce on a weekly basis for the exact same money comes with a certificate of authenticity, far smaller mintages. I mean, we've had mintages into thousands when you would be getting, the 30th, 40th year of the exact same silver eagle with just a little difference in the design, plain old boring ass government bullion, and everybody goes, oh, well, it's very liquid. Yeah, it's liquid because you're never going to get a premium on it. You're going to get less than what you bought it for. Silver Shield goes up in value. Go on eBay. If you don't believe me, it's market economy. Like, I produce one thing once a week and that's it. And there's people who come in, find new Silver Shield stuff. They want to go back and purchase the old stuff. They want to get a collection. They find it interesting. They find it more valuable than the actual underlying silver, and the values go up. I mean, we've already had a couple last week go for $285. 1 ounce of silver for $285 in this paradigm right now. Forget about when Silver Shield becomes legendary for spending 7 to 8 years predicting the end of the death of the dollar and imprinting consciously new designs in the very form of silver that's going to save people from the generational serfdom that is coming.